Showing you how to draft and cut basic body pattern with simple dart. But before we begin, I would like you to please like, share, subscribe and click the notification button. So let's begin. Now the measurement is displayed on the screen. We have the half length, but before we start, I will first of all bring out at least 2 inches for allowance. Then the half length is 17. I mark out the half length. Mark it out. So as where the half length stop, we have the shoulder. The shoulder is 15 inches divided by 2, which is 7.5. You mark it out. You mark the 7.5 out. Then at that point, you form out your armhole, which is 8.5 at the depth. Then we mark it out. So for those who doesn't have French curve to mark the armhole, so you mark 2 inches here, 2 inches here, and 1 inch at the down point, at the center point. You connect it together. Come and mix this. Then you measure. You find out the center of the armhole, which is 4.25. At that point, you mark 1/4 inch. So you connect it from the beginning to the quarter point to the end. So this is the armhole. So the next thing is the dart line, which you use your teeth to teeth. The person's bust is 36. So the person's teeth to teeth is 7.5. And 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.5 1/4. That is 3 3/4. You mark it out. You mark the line out. So you find the breast point, which is 10 inches plus half for sewing, which is 10.5. Then at that point, you measure 1.5 inch out. And at the down part of the line, you measure, that is where the waist is. You measure 1/2 inch at each point of it. So you connect it from this point to this point. You can take it down. So this is the waist dart. So the next dart now is the armpit dart, or you call it breast dart. That one, before you do it, you do the measurement. So the measurement, the bust is 36. Divided by 4 is 9 inches. You mark it here. Then you go to the under bust, which is 13 inches. 13 inches from the shoulder. You mark the line out. To get the waist dart, you can always get it through measurement. Measure from your shoulder to a few inches above your navel. So line is from shoulder to your under bust, for those who doesn't understand. So that side, the measurement you have here now is your circumference, your under bust circumference, which is 30 divided by 4. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. Plus this 1/2 inch that is here, which is 8 inches. You mark it. You now go to your waistline. Waistline is 32 divided by 4, which is 8 inches. Plus this 1 inch that is here, which is 9 inches. You mark it. So you connect them together. Now you have the original measurement without that. So by adding that now, you add 2 inches for the sewing allowance. You connect it. Some people, sometimes you add more than 2 inches depending on what you want to do. So next thing to do now is to form out the armpit dart, or we call it breast dart. You measure 3 inches from the underbust, from the armhole. You mark it and connect the line to the breast point. So at the point of breast point, measure 2 inches from the breast point. And then at the original measurement, you measure half inch here. You connect it, then you can take it up to the allowance. Now we have the breast dart. So the next thing is to form the neck depending on what you want to sew. This time we are using 3.5 for the width and 4 inches for the depth. So you connect it, draw it out. Then at the shoulder point, you measure half inch. Then you connect the line to the neck point, but this is the neck point, right here is the shoulder point. You draw the line, you bevel the line in order for the neck, for you not to have extra when you sew the shoulder. So this is what we have. You are going to cut here off. So this is what you have now for your front dart. Then after sewing, you still have to add some allowance where you want to cut it out in your fabric. You add at least 1.5 inches. That is this point now to your original fabric for sewing allowance. One, because of what you are going to sew out from the dart, because immediately you sew here out, the allowance will be short and it will be much more shorter than the back. So this is what we have for our front. So for the next one now, we are going to do the back pattern, which we are going to do now. The back part of the shoulder, the pattern, you have 16, which is the measurement from the back neck bone to the waistline. And we still have to measure out at least half. This time you are measuring out only 1 inch for the allowance. Then you measure the one inch, then you measure the 16 inches. Then you measure out the zip allowance in case you are using zip, which is 1 inch or 1.5 depending on what you want. This time I'm using 1.5. Then we form out the shoulder, which is 7.5. The armhole, which is still 8.5. You still form out the armhole the same way like the front, but this time you are not going to do the one that you measure the half part of it. This time you just connect only the back is going to be straight. You connect it from here to here, while here is going to be straight, direct. Now we come to the dart line. To get the dart line this time, you find the waistline, the half of waistline divided by 4. That is 8 inches. Divide by 2, which is 4 inches. still mark the 4 inches. That is where you have your dark line. Then at the back side you measure 9 inches. That is where your dart starts from. 9 inches. Then at the down part of it you measure ½ inch at each point of it. I've been waiting all night. Watch you blow a mile. You connect it. Don't come over, 'cause you're not sober. So you now come to the measurement. The bust line is 36 divided by 4, which is 9. You start the measurement from here. This place now, they don't have anything to sew out here. So you mark the 9th direct. Then you go to that same waistline, which is still 13, and the under bust, which is still 13. At that under bust, which is 30, you mark the 7.5 plus the 1 inch here, which is 8.5. So you mark 8.5 here. While at the waistline, which is 8 plus this 1 inch, which is 9, you mark the 9 inch. So you connect it together. Then you still not forget your sewing allowance, which is 2 inches. You connect it. So this is what we have, and this is the waist dart. Now we want to come to the neck. This time you have your zip allowance. You use 3.5 for the neck. You mark it here. So the neck depend on what you want to do. But since you are doing pattern, you can use 2 inches at the back here. You connect it. Then don't forget to bevel the neck point, the shoulder point by ½ inch. So this is what we have now, the front pattern, while this is the back pattern. Let's cut it out and show you what you get at the end. Front pattern, while this is the back pattern. So see you in the next video.